Hey guys, welcome to Tyson's Fitness Tips podcast. If you want to lose weight, increase your energy, improve your health and fitness, and look your best, then you have come to the right place. My name is Tyson Brown. I'm a personal trainer, and my job is to help you transform your body by sharing with you the most up-to-date information on health and fitness. I'm going to distill it all down for you into bite-sized actionable steps that you can take immediately to see results quickly. Now, every Tuesday and Thursday, you can expect a brand new episode, which will be a mixture of interviews with top experts from around the world in the fitness space, and as well as solo episodes from myself, sharing with you exactly what action steps you need to take to transform your health, your body, and your life. And that means you are going to get information from all different areas in regards to mindset, nutrition, fitness, things you wouldn't even think that are associated with your health and fitness, but are going to blow your mind. So let's get into the episode. Hey, before we get into the episode, I just want to let you know my brand new book, Ditch the Diet, has just come out and I'm giving away a couple of free copies. So if you want to go into the draw to win a free copy, all you have to do is share this podcast on your Instagram. All you have to do is click the share button, go to Instagram, put it in your stories, and then tag at Tyson the Trainer, and you'll go in the running. All winners will get the free copy of my book sent straight to your door, and I'm telling you, this book will be a game changer. So that's, once again, all you have to do is make sure that you take a screenshot, you share this, and you tag me on Instagram, and you will go into the running. All right, let's get into the episode.
I'm gonna let you lead it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Tyson's Fitness Tips. Now, I'm pretty pumped at the moment because I'm in San Diego, and this is going to be the first in-person interview I do, because usually they're over Skype, so I always get to connect with people from around the world, but being able to do an in-person interview with someone who's taught me a lot in the last, I don't know, I'd say about 6 months, which is a very cool thing to be able to do. Like, it's kind of a bit of a, how do you say it? I don't know, a little bit of nervousness being able to interview someone else who's had such a big impact. So the person I want to bring on today, Zander is not really in the health and fitness industry, although what his work does go over into that area because he does actually teach people in the industry. Yep. But the reason I wanted to bring Zander on today is because he's a lot about the success mindset, and setting yourself up for success in all areas of your life, I feel like is a really, really important thing, which is why I actually wanted to bring you on today. So, Zander, thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
That's cool, dude. So, can you give us a bit of a background about yourself and what you actually do?
Sure, absolutely. So, what I do, I'm a coach of coaches, basically. I coach coaches to help them build their businesses and get to more people and have a bigger impact on the world. But it's interesting, kind of what you bring up. A lot of what allows someone to be successful in business is the same stuff that allows them to be successful in their personal life or in their health and wellness or their relationships. Because so much of it is, the foundational mental work that you need to work on to actually be successful as a person. So, that's kind of the core thing that we really focus on, is how to be that successful person, so that flows over into any area of your life.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that, because like one of the reasons I was like, I want to talk about this today is like you've got a quote on your page and it says like success is a team sport. Like you can't achieve really anything alone, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you ask any successful person in anything, right, in business or in in health and wellness, if you look at like every single professional athlete or bodybuilder, what they have a support team, they have a coach, they have people to help them get to where they need to go. Nobody ever does it alone.
Yeah, it's just funny, it's kind of like the saying, no man is an island, which is so true. Like you can try going the path alone, but it's obviously more lonely. It's harder. You just don't. You're not going to get to it.
To be honest, I think it's the people that think that they have to get there alone, right?
Yeah.
It might be like an ego thing. It's like, no, I can do this on my own. I can do this by myself. Like, I don't want to ask for help, right? That's kind of what leads people to not being successful. And as soon as you can kind of like shed those walls and just be like, hey, people want to help, as long as I'm willing to ask for it, like I'll get help and I'll get there. I think that's really the first step for so many people in finding that success.
It's funny you say that because, like, you know, obviously you give out a lot of free information on Instagram. I give out a lot of free fitness like, you know, we're doing these podcasts and stuff like that. And it's like, it's all there for you. But, like, the question is, why don't people put it into action, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, one, like you said, it's having someone else there to keep you accountable, to help you be successful. But I think also putting skin in the game, like paying money for something, is a big attribute to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's funny you bring that up. For me, one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned, and I wish this wasn't true, is people who pay attention. I wish it wasn't true, but it's even true for me. You know, at this point, you know, I've brought in way too much money in my business. I have a team of 8 now, best-selling book, a lot of stuff that we're doing. But I've also spent probably somewhere around $150,000 on my own coaching, because I've noticed every time that I hit a plateau, or every time that I get stuck or frustrated, just like you mentioned, whenever I put skin in the game, it gets me back into motion. It gets me back into doing the things that make me uncomfortable. I think a lot of the time, really what it is, it's like we get comfortable with where we're at, even if where we're at is hell. Right? Like, we get comfortable in our own hell, and we'd rather stay comfortable in our hell than risk some form of uncertainty that would be a much better life business-wise, a much better life relationship-wise, a much better life health and wellness-wise. Like, we don't want to get out of our comfort zone, and it's that comfort that's really killing us.
Yeah, it's so true. It's funny to that because, like, you see it all the time, people in their own hell, and you're like, you know, like, we've got to get you moving, we've got to get you out of it, but it's the fear of the unknown, it's the fear of, like, I guess it's like, maybe, do you think maybe people could think they could go further down than what they are now, which is like what prevents them, or maybe they're scared of actually succeeding? What do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's there's fear of change. There's fear in uncertainty, right? It's hardwired into us to keep us safe and alive by doing things that you know, right? And even if, like, some of the things that you know aren't entirely, like, you know, it's not a huge risk to do them, you're hardwired by your, basically, like, your evolutionary brain to stay in that comfort zone, even if it's something that you really don't want. And I think, you know, most people don't really realize that. It's just, you know, it's a simple switch that you switch, and once you start to get comfortable getting out of that comfort zone, a lot more things start to come to you.
Yeah, that's actually funny to say that, because, like, one thing I do to kind of start the process every morning is a cold shower.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, you're crazy. I'm like, hey, I tell you what, though, like, the rest of my day is a lot easier after I've done that cold shower.
Well, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing if you think about it. If you get comfortable getting uncomfortable, right, everything else becomes easy. This is one of the things I have to teach a lot of my clients. They're like, you know, like, a lot of them talk about, like, lacking confidence, right? And what's one of the things that you can do to shift your confidence and become confident really quickly is actually just get out of your comfort zone, do something different. A cold shower, it's surprising, but you go do a cold shower, you come out of that and you're like, I could do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just threw myself in an ice cold shower. Like, I could go do anything right now. And that confidence, it's crazy, but, like, within 5 minutes, your confidence has doubled. Your ability to go do things that you weren't able to do before because you were afraid has doubled just from throwing yourself in a shower first thing in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you say that. Like, when you have more confidence, you're willing to go further outside of your comfort zone. You're willing to push yourself. But the thing is, like, going outside of your comfort zone, like, to me anyways, it doesn't mean you have to go balls to the wall all the time every day. It's like, it's literally taking a step outside of your comfort zone just by a little bit, because, like, if you're aiming to be 1% better than you were yesterday, that's going to add up over time. But, like, so I don't want people to get confused. Like, you know, going outside of your comfort zone doesn't mean you've always got to be doing something radical and crazy, even though those things work. But it's like, you can't, like, you're not always going to be able to do those things all the time either.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really it's just like you mentioned, it's about teaching yourself that taking that one step outside your comfort zone isn't going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? Because so much of the time I think most people don't realize this, but, like, 95% of your brain is your subconscious mind. And that runs your life. That's, you know, the 95% of your brain that is unconscious. Only 5 to even 2% is like the conscious thinking you. The 95% are these habits that you've built, these behavioral processes that you've conditioned. And as soon as you just start to take one step outside of that and basically make the uncomfortable comfortable, you've grown and you've developed further. And like you mentioned, you do that, you know, once a day for every day for an entire year, you've grown 365%.
Yeah.
You've gone through massive shifts just by doing a little bit and proving to yourself that you're not going to die.
Yeah. And that's no small feat either. Like 365%, that can be like a big jump when you look at the big, like the
absolutely
the macro side of things.
Yeah.
Like so, and like thinking about that, like 1% better every day when it comes to health and fitness, it could be literally like because everyone thinks, oh, I haven't been doing anything for the last, I don't know, let's say 2 years, and all of a sudden like I'm gonna go to the gym 6 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. And like some people, they do it for a week or whatever it is, but they fall off the bandwagon. So getting 1% better, like if you're not going to the gym at all, even if you go 2 times a week, that's 200% better than what you were at the moment. So it's like literally go to the gym once a week, or start with one healthy meal a day, and then work your way up from there instead of trying to go balls to the wall straight away.
And I think an important thing to understand too, once you understand how like the conscious mind and the subconscious works, it's like a lot of people think, a lot of people ask me, they're like, because I'm not in the health and wellness industry, but I'm a health and fitness nut.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, in the entrepreneurial space, they're always just like, Xander, like, how do you go to the gym, like, just every day? Like, how do you, like, it's just every single day you have the discipline to go to the gym. And I'm like, honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
It would actually be harder for me not to go to the gym than to just go to the gym.
Yeah, right.
Why is that? Because I've built that habit. I've built that conditioning. It's now a subconscious process. I don't even think about it. Like I wake up, like I do my little morning routine, and I head straight to the gym. Mm-hmm. Like I am just completely stupid when that happens, but it just happens because it's conditioned. And I think most people don't realize you don't have to have a lot of discipline to get to that point. You just have to have enough discipline to start building some small habits one at a time. Just like you mentioned, the first one is if you're not going to the gym, start to go to the gym twice a week.
Yep.
And build that habit. And it takes, there's a lot of science that shows it takes between 30, 45, 60 days to build a habit, right? But if for 30 days, right, you build the habit, so for 4 weeks, you build the habit of going to the gym twice a week, by the end of that month, it's going to be easy for you because you're not even thinking about it anymore.
Yep.
So now what can you do? You could add a third day.
Yeah.
Right? And, by the time you hit, 6 months in, you've got a full gym routine and it's just happening unconditioned. You don't have, you don't have to have discipline or willpower or anything. It just happens at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like one thing you said there's you go in the morning, is that right?
Yeah.
And so that's like also a big thing because like eventually you're not going to have to rely on willpower and, like how you're so dedicated to go and do it. It's going to become that habit. But at the start, you will have to rely on a little bit of willpower. Absolutely. And that's why I think a good point you just made is like go in the morning, wake up, you're fresh, you've got willpower. Because like how easy is it after end of a work day? Like even me as a trainer, I'm like train like 10 clients a day. I'm like, no, I do not want to work out at the end of the day. So like get it done early, get it out of the way, and you've got the rest of the day to do whatever you want.
Have you ever heard of the book, The Big Slimy Frog? I don't
know
if it's a book. It's just like a short little pamphlet.
Oh, right.
But the whole idea of the Big Slimy Frog is if every single day you had to eat a big slimy frog.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? If every single day you had to, it was a must.
Yeah.
Or like you'd die or something like that. I don't know. Or if you had to eat a big slimy frog every single day, right? What do most people do? They put it off. Right? They're like, oh man, I don't want to eat that frog. And they put it off and they put it off. So they don't eat it in the morning. They don't eat it in the afternoon. It gets to nighttime. They're like, oh man, I really got to eat this big slimy frog. Yep. And like, you're just dreading it. And your whole day, you're dreading eating this big slimy frog.
Yep.
And by the end of the day, when you reach that point, you're like, oh, I'm tired. Like, I can't eat this big slimy frog right now.
I'm just going to turn over and die.
I'm just going to die. I'm just going to give up and die. But the whole idea is like, if first thing in the morning, like there was not an option. You just told yourself like, let's get this out of the way. And you just ate the big slimy frog.
Yep.
Your entire day is going to be great after that. Like you get that thing done. You get that one big slimy frog done. After that, you're like, same thing as like the cold shower, right? You're like, all right, it's gone.
Yep.
My day's free. Like I can do whatever. I can do all this stuff. I can take care of all these things. Like you're infinitely more confident, infinitely more energized. Like you're going to have a successful day after that. But if you spend your entire day like dreading this one thing, eventually you're going to get to the end of the day where you don't have energy, you don't have willpower, and you're just like, screw it, I'm going to
die. Yeah. It's funny you say that though, because like getting it out of the way, like obviously health and fitness, doing the gym isn't, like you said, like for you and me, it's not, we must do it, we're not dedicated.
I love it now.
We just go and do it, right? So, like, for me, it's more about the business side of things. And so that's what I do. Like, the start of my morning, it's like, all right, I got to write for 30 minutes. And, like, as soon as I finish that, I'm like, Oh man, I got it done.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. First thing when I wake up, like that's part of my morning routine is I have it's what I call my one thing.
Yeah.
And it is my big slimy frog. It's the thing that if I do that the next day, the entire rest of my day will be successful. So as long as I get that one thing done, I'm good. And so first thing when I wake up, it's the first thing that I do. And as soon as that's done, I'm like, oh, my day is great.
Yep. Doesn't matter what else happens.
Doesn't matter what else. The whole world could collapse.
Yep.
But I got that one thing done. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, when it comes to building confidence, so we've talked about, like, just whenever you have a win, you will build confidence. So, going outside of your comfort zone, like, if you start, like, it may not seem like a big thing at first, but when you do start with those small wins, that is what's the biggest driver of confidence, right? Because, like, you could say, hey, I want to go and achieve this huge goal, which is great. But if you don't start with those many things that are just going to drive you forwards on a daily basis, and if you don't build up that confidence, if you want to overachieve something in a day and you don't hit that, that's going to drive your confidence down. But if you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do 30 minutes of writing a day, or I'm going to do 30 minutes of exercise, and you get that builds your confidence over time, which means you're more likely to go and push yourself further.
Yeah. And the way that I explain that one, I use like a poker chip analogy, right? Yeah, okay. So it's like, if you think of this, if you're playing poker and you've never really played a lot and you've only got like, I don't know, we'll call it like $10 worth of chips, right? You can't really go bet big, right, in the beginning. Yeah. And you don't know the game, right? So you're going to start with like little $1 bets, right? You're going to play some $1 bets. You might win a few, you might lose a few, but that's okay, right? You're bound to lose some in poker, but I think what most people don't realize is like, life in general, and rather than like Vegas where the odds are against you, like life in general, the odds are kind of built in your favor. You're gonna win more of these risks than you are gonna lose, as long as you take the risks. And so you start to bet a little bit. Maybe you win 3, you lose 1, but now you're up a little bit, and you start to bet a little bit bigger. So you get up to maybe like 20 chips. Mm-hmm. Now you can bet $2, right, rather than just betting $1, and you build yourself up to 50 chips. Now you can bet 5. You build yourself up to 100 chips. Now you can bet 10. You keep building yourself up. You can make bigger bets, and you'll have more confidence to actually handle it. You'll also know the game a little bit better. So you all start with like those little steps, and it's as you take those little steps, you build your confidence more and more, and then you can start to make bigger and bigger bets.
I like that analogy, actually. It's pretty cool, That's clever.
Well, it's because, I came up with that one because basically, like, my story, but about 2 years ago, I was in the corporate world, and had a nice multiple 6-figure paying job, and basically just out of nowhere decided to quit. Was like, screw it, I'm throwing everything out. I'd never been an entrepreneur before, never been a coach before, didn't have a network, but I had the confidence where I knew that I could figure it out. I didn't have the steps, I didn't have anything, but I had the confidence to know and the resolve to know that I could figure it out. And I wondered why I was able to do that and why other people weren't. And it really just came back to a lot of the life lessons that I'd gone through. I'd been through a lot of really big ups and downs and big losses, and a lot of that had kind of built my poker chip stack over time. So I had this big stack of chips to bet with. So I was like, I'm not going to die if I quit my job. Like, I'm just going to quit, and we're going to see what happens, because I've got enough chips to know that I'll survive.
There you go. But I think it is also, like in you saying that, it's also... we talk about like success, you can't go by yourself, and so when you're building up those chips over time, I think that's why it's also good to have someone there who has been where you are. Absolutely. To be able to say, okay, look, it is time to push a little bit further, or maybe we need like someone there to be your advisor, you know, just to kind of give you, like, to be your coach, honestly. And so, because like you can try and go it alone, but if you have someone who's already experienced the ups and downs before you, they can make your journey a whole lot easier. Yeah,
absolutely. And that was one of the main reasons why I was able to quit. I actually had a mentor that basically helped me realize the path that I was going down was not the path that I wanted to, and helped me realize, like, we can figure this out. Like, I've done it before. I can, if you want to go from point A to point B, don't try and figure it out on your own if you've never been to point B before. Find someone who's gone to point B and have them show you how to do it. Right? I think a lot of people forget that really, like, the one resource that you can never get more of is your time. And so when you realize, like, the one resource you can never get more of is your time, you're not afraid to, like, have, find the people and invest in the people that are able to help you expedite any of the processes to get to where you want to go. Yeah.
It's funny because you say that, like, we only have a finite amount of time here.
Yeah.
And a lot of people stress more about, oh, well, it's going to cost me money or it's going to do this. It's like, look, you can make more money. You can, like, if you, let's say, in business, if you want to get better at business and you invest that money, you're going to make money back. If you're looking to invest in your health and fitness and you put the money there, you can probably live another couple of years, which will help you make more money.
Yeah.
But like time-wise, you can't get that back. So you can either spend like the next 5 years grinding it out, making mistakes again and again and again.
Yeah.
Or you just put in the money and you shortcut that process. It saves you time, save your energy, and you can do other things for your life.
It's interesting because like a lot of, like you mentioned, a lot of my clients that I work with now are health and wellness coaches, nutritionists, PTs, things like that. And a lot of the clients they work with, maybe they're low on energy or out of shape or they're sick, right? Have autoimmune disorders and things like that. And really, it's like, when it comes to investing and fixing that, it's like, do you want to save your money and be sick for another 5 years and not enjoy the next 5 years of your life, or invest a little bit now so that you can enjoy the next 5 years or 10 years, 20 years, the rest of your life, right? And it's amazing to think when you really like put that into perspective. It's like, holy shit! Like the only time to fix whatever problem it is right now.
Yep. Yeah, true. And it's funny, like you say, save your money, right? Like, where does the money usually go? It goes on things that are negative, that are going to somehow negatively impact you, right? As in, if you're a drinker or you're a smoker, or if you like to go and gamble, or you want to spend money on a car or stuff like that. It's like you're putting money on things that are going to give you no return on investment.
Little vices that you're hoping are going to make you feel better about how shitty the situation actually is.
To help you escape from the current reality.
To be honest, right? Like if I were to go back to me in my 9 to 5, I made $200,000 a year plus. But I was severely unhappy. I was unfulfilled. I was on every promotion that I got, everything that I did, it was like this sharp peak of joy, but then a dull hunger and unsatisfied, unfulfilled feeling afterwards. And I would spend all my money on things like, buying a round of shots at the bar for all, everybody. I was like, I have all this money, I might as well spend it, right? Or for, like traveling and things like that. But all of it was essentially like trying to fill a void that never got filled. And it wasn't until I accepted that and I put, the money that I had, which I hadn't saved a lot. People always think, they're like, oh, you made like $200,000 a year, you had a ton saved so you can invest in coaches. I'm like, not really. Like, I put myself into about $25,000 worth of debt after I quit my job, but it was like, this was an investment to actually get to where I wanted to go so that the rest of my life, I could have the life that I really wanted. And whether that's in business or health and wellness or relationships or anything really, once you really understand that, that's when you start to invest in the things that really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like it is. It's just that short-term sacrifice you make to put in the investment, whatever it's going to be, that's going to pay off in the long run so much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like we've talked about, obviously, building the confidence. You set your small goals first. You work your way out from there. The best thing you can actually do is find someone who is where you want to be, so you can actually get them to mentor you, to guide you, to coach you. What about, like, when it comes to, obviously, you coaching people over the year and you having your own mentors, like, are there some key things that make people successful more, like, compared to successful and compared to people who fail? Like, are there some key traits people have that stand out for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, honestly, probably one of the biggest ones is it's just implementation. We work with a ton of people, and it's the people that are not afraid to be decisive, implement, take action, right? In the end, you could have the perfect strategy, you could have the perfect plan, you could have everything perfect, but if you don't take action, nothing comes from it. Right? I think, especially in the information age, like you were mentioning, there's no shortage of information. But knowledge isn't power, right? Mm-hmm. Knowledge is actually knowledge is the mortal enemy of mastery or of success if you do not implement it. And so the biggest thing that I notice, it's the people that truthfully just dive in and start implementing that really get to where they want to go. And it's understanding that you'll make some wrong decisions, right? But even the wrong decision is better than no decision. Because if you make the wrong decision, you can adjust and learn from it and go make the right one. It's the people that just dive into the pool and start learning how to swim that actually become Michael Phelps, right? You can't learn how to be an Olympic athlete by reading books. You have to jump into the pool and start swimming at some point. So really, what I would say, it's the people that are not afraid to just start doing it.
Yep.
And a lot of the time it's the people that get stuck in their own heads, talk themselves out of it. What if they're focused on themselves, right? It's like, what if I look funny? What if people judge me? What if I fail? What if this happens, right? You end up rejecting yourself before you even have an opportunity to be rejected. Mm-hmm. So, in the end, it just comes down to the people that are willing to take action. Those are the ones that absolutely see results.
Okay. And it's funny you say that. You build up this false reality in your head about, like, what if this? And, like, I don't ever think, well, me personally, whatever I've thought that would be bad that would happen has never been as bad as it actually is.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, it's like, oh, it wasn't, like, I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Exactly.
Like, And so just, like, taking the action, whether you're scared or not, but doing something is better than doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always tell ourselves these stories that basically, like, lead us to believe we're going to die from it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the easiest analogy I can give is, like, speaking in front of an audience, right? So that's probably one of the top, like, 1 or 2 fears for people in the world is, like, speaking in front of an audience.
Yeah.
Yet, you're not going to die from speaking in front of a group of 30 people. Like, there's maybe like a 1 in a billion. I don't know what, like, you slip on something and I don't know what it would be. But, like, you're not going to die speaking in front of an audience. Yet you have a literal, like, a physical reaction as if you're about to be eaten by a bear. Like, you're like, this is like the evolutionary, like, your pits get sweaty, like, your whole body tenses up, your neck tenses because you think you're going to get eaten by a bear, your eyes widen, like, all these things happen, like, evolutionary human was just about to be eaten by a bear. Yet all you're doing is speaking in front of a group of 30 people.
Yep.
Because we tell ourselves these stories about how this talk is going to kill us.
Yep.
But, yeah, it's essentially once you realize that you're not going to die from it, you're fine to do more of these things.
It's so funny you say that because, like, we get this anxiety, this scaredness, and, like, let's say if you did do public speaking and you bombed in front of stage, people will, like, no one cares. Like,
people will forget it.
Yeah, people forget. You'd be like, oh my god, I was on stage 2 weeks, and be like, oh, that was you. Like, I didn't even realize or anything like that. So like, and that's the same as when it comes to the gym. A lot of people think they're being judged when they're working out or anything like that, and it's like, everyone's focused on themselves.
Everyone is so in their own head. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
And, like, that's what actually I point out to clients when we're walking. I'm like, look, they're looking at themselves in the mirror or they're on their phone. Like, no one cares what you're doing.
They're thinking about the presentation they have to give later. They're thinking about what their girlfriend said or their boyfriend said via text, trying to figure out, like, oh my god, is she upset? Like, has nothing to do with you.
and like, the best way to realize that is, like, think about what you think about when you're just in everyday life. Like, you aren't thinking about, oh, I wonder what Katie's thinking right now or how she's feeling. You're just like, oh man, like, I've got to do a presentation at work or, like, I've got to go and do this podcast with Zander. Like, we're just naturally selfish. We're always just thinking about ourselves. So, like, when you start to realize that, you're like, oh, okay, like, whatever happens, people aren't really going to care in the long run. Yeah, as long as you don't hurt that person.
And I am not going to die.
Yeah, and I'm not going to die, Like, we're in a pretty good time in our life, like, as in civilization right now, where we have a good chance of living.
Yep. Yeah. Somehow you were able to travel all the way to San Diego from Sydney.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be okay.
But it was great. Yeah, exactly. So, in regards to that, like, taking action, you said is a really big thing. So, obviously, people listen to this podcast. It's like taking action and just pick, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do 1% that gets me uncomfortable. Not like 20, not 30. Just do one thing.
Just do one.
That's going to get you outside of your comfort zone and build up that momentum.
Absolutely, yeah. And if you can just do that one thing several days in a row, you'll start to realize that one thing now doesn't take any discipline because what was once uncomfortable is now comfortable. Right? What uncomfortable is, you're just unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
As soon as you take the unfamiliar and make it familiar, it's now comfortable.
Exactly.
And so you don't have to worry about it anymore. So you can move on to the next thing after that.
Yeah. And there's no we can't say, like, they talk about habits being built in 30 or 60 days, whatever it is, but, like, each person's going to be different. And you're going to realize, like, there's going to be a point when you're doing it where all of a sudden, like you just say, it just feels easy, Like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about going to the gym or I didn't even think about eating the breakfast. It's just what I do every single day. And that's when you realize, okay, now I can start working on anything else. But if you're still trying to make yourself do something, then make sure you stick to that habit and don't try and add anything else on, because I can't remember what the stats were, but it's like the chances of you sticking to one habit is dramatic, and then when you go to 2 habits, like, it's dramatically cut. Yeah, it's just like, do one thing, wait until it becomes an automatic, like, back end thing, and then move on to the next one.
And to that point too, the one thing that I would add to that is, don't make it like a 99% like thing, you know, not like oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll do this every day for the next 2 weeks. It's like, no, this is non-negotiable.
Yep.
This is legitimately like, if I don't do this, it would be like I would die.
Yeah.
As soon as you make the full decision that like this thing is going to happen 100%, it actually becomes really easy.
Yep.
If it's 99%, you're almost guaranteeing that you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny you said, because when I was doing my nutrition course, they talk a lot about psychology in there, and they talk about, you know, asking people, is this 100%?
Yep.
And so, like I say to my clients, they're like, I want to go to the gym 5 times a week. All right, what's the percentage you're going to be able to do that? Oh, probably like 80. I'm like, what if we went twice a week? Oh, it's definitely 100. I'm like, okay, let's do that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty easy. I'm like, well, let's just make sure that's 100%.
Let's hit this
yeah, exactly.
first.
Let's hit the 100%, because like we do have better intentions for ourselves, but like make sure you can hit the first intentions you actually have. Like if it seems like 100%, prove to yourself that is definitely 100%.
Yep. And then you can move forward. And that goes back to the confidence thing. If you're constantly reaching too far and failing, what does that, you know, what does that tell you about yourself? Basically, you're telling yourself, I am not as good as I think I am, and I can't do this.
And that's when confidence goes down even more, and then you don't want to do those things to get outside of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it's funny. Just like there's so much. I think like you said, the subconscious, the 95%, but just like working on that mindset is like one of the most important things you can do.
100%.
So in regards to saying that, like, is there any, like, I know we've talked about this, but like, would you recommend any books to kind of start off with, just to kind of get a better understanding of like how your mind actually works? Like, is there any that have stood out for you at all?
Oh man.
I know there's like, so like, I'm looking at your bookshelf over here, and there's just so many that are so good, but like something just...
There's a lot. It really depends on what level you're at.
Okay, let's say you're at the very beginning stage. You just want to like kind of just scratch the surface.
Yeah. If you're at the very beginning stage, honestly, like one of the best books that I've read recently is actually one of my personal mentors, who you probably know, Bedros Keuilian.
Yep.
So he just put out his book, Man Up.
Oh yeah, it's a great book.
Phenomenal book with, you know, it's just a handful of very key principles but that he delivers in a very easy to understand way that you can make actionable and then put into practice. And it's like, you know, if you were to just put a handful of these principles into practice, it's hard not to be successful.
Yep.
And it's just very simple. It's very laid out. So actually, you know, to be honest, if you're really just like first starting to learn about, you know, mindset and the power of, you know, what you're able to do, that's actually a phenomenal place to start is Bedros Man Up.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to put that one in the show notes, so make sure you go and read that book, because it's not a very long read either. It's very like actionable, it's a very
easy read. It's very interesting. I picked it up and was just like, I was like, you know, I do this work, right? I'm going to understand all this stuff. Nothing's going to be new to me. And I was just like hooked into it and just like tore through the thing in like one afternoon. But yeah, very, very good read, very simple to understand and actionable. Yeah, and it's got action steps at the end of each chapter. It's like, go and do this now, and like, it's just kind of like we're talking about now, guys. Like, if you just go and if you're the action implementer and you just take one thing, what we've talked about today, that's what's going to start making that shift. That's what's going to build up the confidence. It's going to start making you work towards where you want to go. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So, Zander, where can people find out more about you? Like, what are you doing at the moment? Sure. They could check me out. They could go to my website, zanderfryer.com, ZANDERFRYER.com, or they can follow me on Instagram at ZanderFryer. Again, ZANDERFRYER. Feel free to reach out to me, DM me if you have any questions about whatever we just ran through. I love chatting about this stuff, love helping people, so more than happy to chat. Yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on today. I really had fun. I actually want to do more of these. These are really cool. Sounds good, man. All right, guys, you've got all the action steps you need. You don't need to do any more thinking. Just pick one thing and start implementing. Get 1% outside of your comfort zone every day, and you're gonna achieve the health and fitness goals you want. So go back, listen to it again, and until next time, I'll speak to you guys later. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the episode. I really appreciate it. Now, before you go, can you please do me one favor and go to the iTunes review and leave me a 5-star rating? That way it's going to help me reach more people with their health and fitness. And if you do that, whoever leaves a 5-star rating, I'll give you a free copy of my digital book. So all you have to do is just go get a 5-star, screenshot it,
send it to me via Instagram at Tyson the Trainer, and you'll get a free copy of my digital book. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you next time.